Welcome to the Boise State Esports Arena, and tonight you join us for PEC Overwatch. Boise State is ready to go up against a name that should be familiar to any Bronco fan, Oklahoma. That's right, the Broncos versus the Sooners, ready to face off on tonight's Tuesday night Overwatch match. I'm your host, Jacob Palmer. I'm joined by Bryce Jensen. Call all of the action for you here tonight. Bryce, you were here over the last weekend for the CECC qualifiers, which the Broncos did splendidly, and I'm told. Tell us what stood out most to you about their performance that weekend and stuff you hope to see tonight.
Definitely a big standout for the Overwatch team here at Boise is their dedicatedness to their one team comp that is filled with Wrecking Ball and Tracer, especially because we are at a point in the meta right now where those two characters can be countered by just about everybody who you would see normally in games, specifically the Orisa pick, the Cassidy, the Reaper, all those characters that we've seen a lot of teams play to very little success when you take into account Strider pretty much only playing Wrecking Ball, bringing out the Orisa only when he's really struggling, which we don't really see all that often. And just that dedicatedness to his one character and the ability to make it work really well. I feel like we're going to see that a lot again tonight, and it's definitely something that stands out just to somebody looking in and seeing these characters being played to such high effectiveness.
Well, you mentioned Strider, but he is certainly not the only person on the team. We got a whole lineup that is star-studded this year for Boise State Overwatch, which has been delivering win after win, match after match. And of course, that's made up of Strider, but it's also made up comes to mind here. You see Jonathan Foraker, I was just about to mention him clear. We got Cannon Miller, Garrett Strickler, Carter Jones, Will Hess, and Jenny Cummins, all rounding out the Bronco roster. And Jonathan Foraker clear, being able to be such a threat, like you said, on the Tracer. That tag team duo of the ball and the Tracer could really just take out any target they decided to focus on. The moment that stands out to me is when Strider can still get hit by the Rampage and still pull off a 4K right in the face of that.
Yeah, we saw it in their last game, in the SECC game over the weekend. Strider just being able to get those kills with Minefield, which is a notoriously difficult ultimate to find good value with. But being able to pull 4 kills out of a hat with that ultimate is really impressive. But kind of moving away from the Strider clear combo, we also can't diminish the value of the backline as well as Frost on a lot of the time Ashe. Just being able to get consistent picks on backline members with in tandem with Clear and Strider, just always providing that threat that I feel like a lot of teams just don't really know how to deal with a lot of the time.
Well, we can give all the information we want, but there is only one Doc's keys to the game. Only one head coach, Doc Haskell, to tell our team to never take a fair fight. And that means to take fights in unexpected places when your opponent's unprepared and leverage as much tempo as you can get. All brought to you by Boise State Esports. You can head to boisestate.com/esports for information on how you can attend matches, how you can sign up for tryouts. We got all sorts of special events happening here at the Boise State Esports Arena, including our upcoming Halloween party. You are not going to want to miss that. Costumes very much encouraged. Let's take a look at the picks and bans, and we are going to be starting out on Oasis for Control. Definitely one that I like to see starting out on Control. He had, no pun intended, but a bit of a drought waiting for Oasis to come along in the last academic year. Hardly saw it at all, but now I'm seeing it a good number in the past few weeks.
Yeah, Oasis is one of those maps that really isn't your first pick when it comes to Control point. I mean, me personally, I'm an Ilios guy myself. Love that map on Control, but it's definitely good to see a little bit of a shakeup in how we play the game, especially when it comes to Control maps that tend to get a little bit samey.
Well, there is certainly a good amount of variety in Oasis between the 3 different stages. I, of course, am partial to the one we're seeing right here, Library. I always like those stages, whether it be the Well in Ilios or right here in Library, even though it's not lethal, just the hole in the middle of the playfield. I've always seen, I always get a chuckle when I see a little bit of a mishap happen and someone accidentally falling in there.
Yeah, the ability to capitalize on those holes is definitely made for a lot of funny moments, and I hope we get to see a few today because it's always a treat to just see a tank get back to the fight into the hole. Back to the fight, into the hole.
Nothing more funny than seeing the wrecking ball prepare the slam and then go right into the hole. I've nicknamed that the hole-in-one move right there. That's because it's just so thematically perfect. We're just about ready to get down to the battlefield. Boise State versus Oklahoma. Broncos versus the Sooners, and off we go. Boise State in red, Oklahoma in the blue, and Boise State going to be on that wrecking ball comp that you were talking about, as well as Clear being on the Tracer. Such a deadly combination. Clear already taking a bit of damage to start off the fight as Oklahoma manages to take the high ground. Boise State will now have an uphill battle quite literally to try to knock Oklahoma off of their perch, as Fossey trying to push down, Fusi trying to push as much damage as he can down onto Boise State, who, if they can't take the high ground, they're at least going to try to contest point.
Yeah, on this map, it's incredibly important to take that left high ground, especially on characters like the Cassidy we are seeing on both Oklahoma and Boise. They benefit so much from that high ground, just being able to shoot down with barely anybody being able to contend, except for one bounce pad on the center of the map. We do see Strider trying to dive the Cassidy on the high ground, unfortunately not being able to find the kill, and is going to have to back off.
Lyric gets the kill onto Jiva. It's the first in many, I'm sure we'll see this match, and allows Boise State to go up one. Strider continues on the elimination train, taking out NCal. Sweetbread is next on the list. Despite an elimination onto Hex for Boise State's backline, looks like Broncos have secured this point.
I feel like Oklahoma did a really good job in that last fight controlling that high ground, but with Fusi unfortunately going to the ground and dying just like we saw just now to Frost, it just kind of takes the tank out of the fight, and with that Orisa and her spear being so strong against the comp that Boise is running right now, it's going to be a must-have to keep that tank alive and on the high ground.
Oh, I see Strider has some sneaky snake thoughts, looking for when they push past that choke point. Hanging just onto his mind. Comes the line in a few seconds. The pulse bombs are just unreal with how much Clear is able to stick them. How did that even hit?
I think NCal was expecting a lot of things out of this match, but a mid-air pulse bomb out of Tracer was definitely not one of them.
My goodness, Boise State. And we haven't even seen the minefield come up. I was so hyping up the wind-up that Strider is having on this minefield. Clear just came in and completely changed my thoughts. But off we go. This is going to be an exciting fight with so many ultimates on the table. Strider dropping down onto the point to contest. Boise State now having their Deadeye come online as well. Oklahoma is getting close to their orbital ray and rally as well. Oh my goodness, so many check marks, so little time. Question is, who's going to use their ult first?
And we get your answer. Revan on the Cassidy brings out the Deadeye, unfortunately picking off Lyric in the backline. Now, we also see the minefield come out of Strider. Is it going to find kills? Well, the minefield sure did, but Clear is able to get one on Sweetbread with NCal falling not too far after. Both supports on Oklahoma are both down. How are they going to play this out? Tracer is able to land the pulse bomb, not able to find a kill, but Revan is able to get that kill on Frost with Strider killing Fuzi and Revan falling soon after, allowing Boise to hold on to their point.
Yeah.
Hold on to this point.
Having no supports makes those mines all more consequential. You might be able to dive back and heal under normal conditions, but in this case, that was very severe damage placed onto Oklahoma. They can't even get back to the point to contest. So Boise State will claim the point outright, clean 100, and move on to the second stage with the chance to close out control early.
And that's something that we've seen out of Boise in a lot of their games so far. Their ability to just get into the back line and just make so much disruption that tank doesn't get healing, DPS don't get peel. It's just something we've seen time and time again, and a lot of teams tend to struggle with against such a versatile composition that Boise runs.
We move on to the one I have been partial to all this time, Library. Always nice when the one you want shows up. I've seen so many Ilios maps the last few weeks where we didn't see all of Windmill and the infamous well, and I was sad. But now I'm happy, and I'm sure Boise State is happy if they can pick up a few more wins here. Strider once again taking the high ground, surveying the whole situation. Quick change from Clear back over to the Tracer once the team has used that Sim TP.
Yeah, we're seeing Strider trying to find a way to get a setup, but with Frost on that high ground, he's also applying constant pressure into that left side room that Oklahoma tends to be partial to. Strider trying to get some picks in there, but just can't really find anything, but he does force Jivia to go back on very low health without recall, which could be kind of detrimental, but unfortunately he does get the pick on Clear even without the use of his recall. Boise is going to have to back out a little bit more now and unfortunately give up point because they are down a player, but we are still seeing Frost trying to get that chip damage in, seeing if he could find a kill.
Boise State certainly has been able to take back the point with less than favorable circumstances, although losing their tank is going to make a bad situation worse. Clear doing the best he can contest, but at this point, Boise State is probably just going to have to settle for a full reset, because every second they spend still contesting this is another second that they're building up their stagger, and a pretty severe one has been placed onto them now.
Yeah, just looking at the ultimate charges right now, Oklahoma is already really dangerously close to that Deadeye as well as Orbital Ray, which is arguably one of the most impactful ults right now in the game. And looking over to Boise's side, we've had 2 team swaps. Frost is on the Ashe now, and Strider swapping it up onto the Orisa, and Revan finding it early kill on Clear. Wow, that's going to put a hitch in Boise's plans to get out. Now they have to wait for him to respawn and get back in the fight. But we also see a goodness! Holy moly! Wow, that is unfortunate for Boise, down 2 members, but we still see Strider try to go in, but he's unfortunately just outmatched in the 3v1 scenario. Frost also falling really fast, and Hex forcing Boise to fall back and try to regroup.
Does that gun have no recoil or what? I mean, Revan stepping up as the Cassidy. Sometimes the best plays you can do as these long-range DPSs is a simple head click to delete the enemy team. Now Boise State is going to try to contest again to retake this point, still with no ultimates to use, and at a bad time too, but once again, Cassidy taken out, former team member Ashe. And Boise State is going to keep losing as NCal gets Lyric. Hex bites the dust soon afterwards with no more healing. Things are looking dire for the Broncos as they have to reset, but they don't have time.
We also see Oklahoma with almost all of their ultimates except for Orbital Ray. This is going to be incredibly difficult for Boise to touch and keep it with the pulse bomb on Frost and Lyric. And Clear unfortunately missing his, leaving him to die. We also see Terra Surge get brought out, kills Hex, and unfortunately Strider's the only one left to touch the point, and he just cannot get there in time, allowing Oklahoma to tie it back up at 1-1, 100-0.
Oh, wow. That was so deadly, the Cassidy pick. That was just completely deleting Boise. You know, I think also, man, it just seemed like maybe the Broncos just got a little bit too comfortable. Kept fighting some fights that they should have reset a little bit earlier, and that just led to more and more time building up against them. So I think had they played that a little bit cleaner, reset a little bit faster, they might have been able to get at least one more team fight in there.
Yeah, especially since they swapped off that Wrecking Ball comp. Going as fast is definitely not as needed as it is, or it's being fast on Orisa is definitely not as good as it is on the Wrecking Ball. It gives you that opportunity to sort of back out and regroup, and I just don't think they took the time to regroup and just do what they needed to do.
Looks like Oklahoma is going to take the high ground first here on Garden. Strider looking to see when he can swing up and catch them unawares, and the time is now. He moves on in, slams down, but isn't able to do too much damage. Moves back because everyone is focusing on him. Now trying to get a few knocks back, maybe even an elimination, but right now he is still just fighting with pool noodles against Oklahoma. The only person taking a good bit of damage is Jiva, but he's managing to hang in there with his cooldowns. And things, even though we're seeing damage traded back and forth, no eliminations to speak of quite yet. As soon as I say that, though, Frost starts things out, taking out Revan. Can Strider keep it going right into the back line with the slam down. He's going to get stunned, move back on out. Now he's trying to still find these picks onto the Brig, onto the Juno. And he finally gets what he was looking for with the help of Frost, and he gets Juno too. That's great. Both supports gone. This tank's days are numbered, and Boise State takes the point.
That's something that we've seen Boise just do time and time again. Keep Frost back, just poking out, constant pressure, and just getting even one kill on those supports. And this meta, and with this team comp, with the Orisa, it is detrimental, especially if that pick just happens to be Brig, because then Juno has nothing to keep her safe with. But we do see Jivia trying to be a little bit sneaky, trying to pull a Strider move while his team pushes up front. We do see Clear get that early kill on Revan, who has proven to be the biggest threat on their team, but NCal falls really quick to Frost Dynamite. Clear does go down to Spear, but Frost pays it back in blood with Jivia. As we see Strider go onto this tank and just light him up, and with no supports in sight, he has to back off.
Not only is the Cassidy mashup great from a thematic standpoint, a lore standpoint, but they're both long-range DPSs that can get those picks before these fights starts. And normally the one team, whether it's Oklahoma or Boise State, who's gotten that first pick with those long-range heroes has been the one to take the fight.
Yeah, we are seeing Strider get in with his minefield. It comes out, not really able to find anything just yet, but clear with the melee onto the enemy Tracer. All the supports are forced to back out, leaving their tank for dead in the middle of the point. He's able to back out, but Break has to pop rally, but not before Fuzi ends up dying. Orbital Ray comes out. Is it going to find any kills? It does find, NCal does find one on Frost, but is it going to be enough with Pulse Bomb coming out, unable to find anybody? Brig is kind of getting lit up right now, and he falls to Bob from Frost, leaving just Tracer and the Juno on the point. Clear ends up dying to Gvia, but not before Revan does go down to Clear as well. Doomfist is going on the point, trying to touch with Juno in order to help. Not really able to find anything, but able to contest that point for long enough for the rest of his team to get back. He does find that kill on Hex, but Strider does get that kill on NCal, forcing them into an even fight. Fuzi very, very low and unfortunately dies to the grapple with Gvia forced to back off a point. Somebody is contesting on Oklahoma though, and it is the Tracer who unfortunately dies to the Strider, leaving Boise to take this map 2-1.
That's a masterful display of what Strider knows. I mean, he knows how to get out so quickly and heal up to recontest and hit the point. You know, so many tanks like a Doomfist or a Wrecking Ball find their demise when they overstay their welcome in the back line and the whole enemy team just turns around and gets them. But Strider is a master of knowing of when to hold and when to fold and when to heal.
Yeah, he just knows the ins and outs of his kit so well, and that's something that we see out of a lot of the Wrecking Ball players here, just being able to get in, get out, deal a ton of damage, back off. And we saw it especially in that third map team fight where he was just able to bounce around in that small corridor, getting massive value, allowing for Frost to get kills with Dynamite.
Yeah, he definitely, a lot of his most incredible plays are when he just uses the grapple and the momentum of the Wrecking Ball to just slam everyone around, and he has picked up great wins using that. But Boise State now has given Oklahoma the chance to choose the next stage, since the loser does choose the next stage. So maybe Oklahoma has something up their sleeve. There are either two things that could happen here in my experience. Either we see kind of a little bit of an off pick, something sort of a secret weapon that the other team has been scrimming against other teams and usually does well, or we can see a much more complacent pick like a Kings Row, and both teams just say, hey, we've played this stage enough, we think we're good enough, we're prepared to face you on it.
Honestly, I'm up for a Kings Row pick. I know we see it a lot, but it's always just a good time to see it come out. But honestly, I would like to see that sort of hat trick kind of get pulled out. Maybe the new push map, Bruniscopi, or even something that you don't really see very often, an escort map, maybe. That would definitely be really cool to see, but honestly, just seeing how these teams play on these different maps is going to be a very interesting, just something interesting to look at.
I was looking at the replays for the CEC qualifiers from last week. Oh my goodness, was it a trip back in nostalgia to see Junkertown again? I mean, ever since Push and especially Flashpoint have come in, Escort has usually been placed to the back of the best of fives, and since a lot of matches are decided before we get to Game 5, I haven't seen a lot of these classic stages, Rialto, Junkertown, Dorado. I mean, so many great memories from the early days of Overwatch. Hopefully to relive again if we do see Escort be brought out.
Yeah, and especially because a few of those maps have gotten pretty significant changes. Like Dorado got changed here pretty recently with the last patch, and it would be awesome to see how these teams are playing around that new change, since a lot of the ways you get up to high ground have been changed. Just the way that you play the map has sort of been altered, especially on a lot of those first points.
Well, Boise State I'm sure, has practiced just about every conceivable angle that Oklahoma could bring out against them, but we'll have to wait for the actual map pick to see what the Broncos will have to face as they find themselves up 1 in this fight, going on into the second. They finished a lot of these fights in 3-0, and I honestly think Boise State is just going to want to try to close this out yet again in a 3-0 style as we hop on back down. Now, we just played Control, so I reckon that lighthouse isn't an Ilios lighthouse. Do my eyes deceive me, or are we going to Gibraltar?
I don't know. It might be Pariso, too. That ocean. Oh, no.
Gibraltar. There's I set the wish out. I wanted to see a good old classic stage, and I have many fond memories of Gibraltar.
Hey, asking you shall receive. This map is always a treat.
All right, off we go into the second of possible 5 games. Boise State up 1. Should they win this, they will move on to match point. Now, since Oklahoma chose this stage, Boise gets to choose whether they want to attack or defend first, and normally for the Broncos, that's been a choice to defend first. And since I think I see a Wrecking Ball silhouette on the defending team, I am quite sure that is the blue defending.
Yeah, the Wrecking Ball on defense seems to also be a staple, and the way that they play it is really kind of interesting. You don't see a lot of dive characters on the defense very often, but with Gibraltar being such a high ground focused map, being able to get up and down and just kind of move freely around all of these pieces of high ground is definitely crucial when it comes to map control.
And that underpass right before the first checkpoint, Boise State has time and time again shown that they love to trap the enemy team under there and then just unleash as much damage as possible. Fusi's going to start the push here going on to the Winston. We got 2 divey tanks going up against each other. This will be an interesting match for sure. Strider still contesting as Ryan trying to take him from an off angle, still putting a lot of damage through headshots onto him. Will he be able to escape? Just manages to blink on out of there at the last moment. Meanwhile, Fusi has been able to take out Lyric with so much divey heroes all over the playfield. You never quite know where the fight is actually going to be taken.
Yeah, we did see that early kill onto Lyric, which is going to limit the amount of healing that Boise has, but the damage output on the GVO was just a little bit too much. Frost finding that kill on NCal, also reducing Oklahoma's amount of healing, and this is just going to be a battle of who can kill the supports first. We see Strider get that kill on Sweetbread, which is going to force Oklahoma to play it back and play it a little bit more safe until their supports come back out.
Yeah, if you're a fan of dive, then you're eating well tonight, because like you said, it is a battle of which support bites the dust first. And right now they're going after Ryan, trying to finish what they started in the first fight. Frost is going to move on back, try to find a better position for all that high ground. And speaking of mid-air, Jiva could definitely unleash a lot of punishment with this Echo, as both tanks are now fighting up above the bridge. Boise State's going to be able to knock that Winston down. He is so low on health, and will they be able to finish off? He dives out of the way and heals up, but Revan gets taken out by Lyric, so Boise State is up 1. Can they continue the eliminations as Minefield comes online?
Yeah, we see Boise with quite a few different ultimates to work with. They got Pulse Bomb off of Clear, and both supports around the same ultimate percentage. We see that kill on Givia pretty early on from Lyric and the anti-grenade, and that in combination with Wrecking Ball's massive damage output was just a little bit too much.
Oh, here's where they love it. They love to play right here, right on the sides of this underpass. Clear is also hanging on with this pulse bomb. I no doubt think that we're going to see another sneaky place up here. As, oh my goodness, that's someone you don't want to meet in a back alley, forcing one of the Sooners to retreat. He's going to drop the minefield way up here and go after the Ana as the Echo goes up above, trying to regroup with the team. Does manage to hit a bionic grenade onto Lyric.
They ended up forcing out the Primal out of Fuzi, which I don't know how much value he's going to get since he's by himself, but Revan does end up killing Clear, so that allows them to go a little bit farther without that omnipresence of him just being able to do whatever he wants, and forcing Frost back is definitely not a bad thing as well. Strider's setting up for some little sneaky play. He doesn't have Minefield this time, but that does not diminish the usefulness of Wrecking Ball. Ends up diving on the doing a ton of damage, but is able to be bailed out by Briggs so far, and is just not able to quite find the pick. But with the Nano Boost, he's able to roll into the back line and get the kill. Oh no, not get the kill on Cal. The rally does get popped, and Clear ends up finding that kill on Fuzi, with Clear running out to try and chase the Tracer, not really able to find anything else. Tons of ultimate spent, not really much done with them, but with Frost still having that Bob out, he still is posing quite the threat.
Clear has been so dominant on the Tracer that I almost forgot he does a pretty mean Reaper as well. I have seen plenty of team wipes when he is able to charge up that Death Blossom. Right now, Strider is going to swing into the whole team of Oklahoma, who's found this on the high ground. What an ante placed onto Fusi, and his health just melts away as result. And now without their tank, Oklahoma is left running. Will anyone else fall? Revan does go down to half health, but right now Boise State just seems content to hold the Sooners at bay because there's only 10 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, Boise also has the significant ult advantage going into this fight. Oklahoma really only has duplication and pulse bomb on their side, so someone needs to touch the point, and somebody does. Juvia ends up using the duplicate, but gets slept out and is unable to do anything on the Reaper. Strider finding the kill on the backline, but is it going to be enough? Duplicate ends up getting destroyed, and so does their tank. Hex is able to fall due to pulse bomb, but it's just not going to be enough with a team kill from Boise State, allowing them to take the round without Oklahoma getting to that first checkpoint.
This is a really bittersweet moment for me because, one, I'm happy that the Broncos are doing good. I only get to see 1/3 of Gibraltar, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad it got picked and all, but it's like, you know, so much of the excitement is in the second, third stages. The only other stage in which this has happened so many times has been Route 66. I cannot tell you how many times I have been so excited to get into the Deadlock Gains headquarters, and nope, we are just on that initial highway because the Broncos are so perfect they have held before the first checkpoint.
Yeah, I honestly love a lot of the first points in these escort maps, but unfortunately, they're just not the most interesting. Not saying that you can't do a ton with them, but what we want to see is definitely towards the back end of the round. And with Boise State just being such a dominant force, you just don't really get to see it very often, and it is kind of a shame. Well, not really a shame because our Broncos are winning, but you know what I mean.
I mean, I'm happy, but I'm a little ticked as well. But you know, you just make do with what you have. As long as the Broncos pull off that W at the end of the day, that is the main thing that we are all here for, nitpicks aside. Well, now the Broncos just have a hop, skip, and a jump before they make it to their final parking spot. Now, we can see here that the Winston is still going to be chosen for defense.
Yeah, and he's kind of getting jiggy with it right now. I think he's feeling good.
I mean, he's dressed to succeed. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, as long as they can hold on this point is really hard to contest with for the attackers. Just trying to get onto that high ground and control it is a very difficult thing to do, even with the dive characters. So seeing how Oklahoma tackles this, but we see Clear with the immediate kill onto GB on the Tracer, taking them down to a 4v5 immediately, and Monkey has to jump out before getting really any damage done just because of that massive damage output from Boise's DPS line.
Man, I feel like I've closed my eyes and already Boise State is about halfway there to the final parking spot. Bit of contest from the Winston. Fusi gets hit with the biotic grenade, has to move on out and retreat, and is now in a showdown with Strider. But Boise State is more than happy to take the fight up here on the high ground. Hex gets the pick onto Revan, but while this has been happening, the payload has been sneakily pushing under the bridge all this time, and Boise State is getting ever closer to victory.
Honestly, this swap up from Oklahoma, from Fuzi onto the Winston is definitely, it could work. He just needs to find a way to control that high ground. But unfortunately, Strider finds that kill on NCal with Fuzi switching over to Doomfist, hoping to touch. The GV Tracer is definitely working here to just touch the point and try and stall for as long as possible, but can he keep it up? Strider does find that kill on Revan in the backline, but with NCal launching anti-grenades like there's no tomorrow, it's not enough to keep Sweet Red up from Strider. GV can't touch the point because of the minefield that's on the point, allowing Boise to take this round, bringing them up 2-0.
Wow. They just played Oklahoma like a fiddle there in that past round, just completely misdirecting their attention and pushing the payload all the time, and even in the misdirection, still winning the fight here and there. And again, Strider has just been such a force on this wrecking ball. If you're out of position and you don't have your tank or support with you, I would hate to be in a one-on-one against him.
Oh yeah, even if you're two supports together, you are always in fear of the wrecking ball seemingly coming out of nowhere and just being able to take out your Ana or your Brig with like no sweat. And it seems like a lot of teams are really struggling with this, even though Brig is a very good counter to the dive and to the wrecking ball. You just don't really find very much success with Strider being able to get those picks really fast or just knowing when to get out before meeting his end.
Yeah, and it really, I mean, we saw a little bit of a hint of the possible counter for Strider. I mean, he did get hit once with the sleep dart. It just, it puts so much pressure on your Ana or any sort of player that has that valuable CC ability to just shut that stupid ball down. They have to hit, or else he's just going to wreak havoc into your team.
Yeah, he's going to live up to his namesake, go like a wrecking ball through your back line. But But I feel like the Cassidy pick that we'd seen is definitely the way to go against the Wrecking Ball, since it takes him out of his ball form and also gets rid of all of his momentum. I feel like we saw that a little bit on the first map, on the library pick for Oasis, but unfortunately we just weren't able to see any real success with it past that. Getting him off of Wrecking Ball, which is sort of his comfort pick, and onto the Orisa, we saw that uncomfortness that he's had during that during the second round. And I feel like just forcing him into that uncomfortable position is how you are going to win against Strider's Wrecking Ball.
Oh, and we've been talking so much about Strider, but I think the highlight of the night is right here from Clear. This pulse bomb over the roof, which we were not expecting whatsoever. That's just unreal.
Yeah, I doubt that anybody is going to be looking up when they think Tracer, and Juno being such an aerial character, it's just the last thing you'd expect. It's like trying to play Junkrat into Pharah. It's not really something you see working out, but I mean, they're making it work, and they're making it work well.
Boise State now sitting at match point, and already they have plenty of highlights that they can look over and be proud of, but it'll all come down to this third stage. And if anyone, I think the story is, will anyone be able to shut down Strider and his propensity to just go wherever he pleases and take whatever match he wants?
Yeah, I feel like the issue also falls into Frost as well. Boise is really playing like a really dive-heavy comp, but with that poke character in the Ashe just able to shoot you from a really long ways away, you not only have to challenge the Strider pick, just hanging out in your back line, doing whatever he wants, but also the Ashe pick from halfway across the world, just finding kills on your supports that you would never expect. And really, that's going to be the key to taking down Boise.
Oh, my wish was fulfilled. Now we'll see yours. We're going to an old classic, Kings Row. But I think also we see, I think that's where Oklahoma, when they had that rally in the first match on Oasis, when their Cassidy was starting to do this first job, they were picking out that Ashe, so they no longer had to worry about that poke damage. And they found great success in that.
Yeah, and I wonder if we're going to see it a little bit more on Kings Row, too. You definitely can play the dive with all of the high ground, but this is kind of known as Ryan's map. You play the Reinhardt on this map. It's even been renamed to Scrims Row for a reason. You always see the Rhine there.
Yep.
But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we still saw the Wrecking Ball out of Strider here going into map 3.
Yeah, Kings Row has definitely been an old favorite of Boise State in terms of the brawl composition. The May Rhine composition has been their bread and butter on this stage for many a year, and even though we're seeing a lot of great picks against Strider, I think we're probably going to see them go with no. Okay, you know what? You want to play Wrecking Ball? Good for you.
Yep. Hey, if Strider wants to do it, let him cook. I mean, he's been cooking some really good stuff all night, so I wonder what he's going to
Yeah,
come
let's
up with
hope he doesn't burn anything, though. No, you never want to tell someone to actually let it cook. Denver learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are moving on to this what could be the final stage here as we go to defend Objective A. Already Strider positioning himself up pretty far in the statue, whereas the high ground is going to be claimed by these long-range DPSs that we have seen. But Frost taking a bit of damage right off the bat. It's going to force him to duck back in here. Clear almost gets eliminated, just melted down as Oklahoma is moving as a cohesive unit. High ground is taken as Orisa moves out by herself as the rest of the team is still caught in the Alderworth. They're going to have to move back, and now they've set up what could be a possible great bull, but Revan gets the pick onto Clear. Boise State finds themselves down one. Frost even things up with the pick onto NCal. Strider looking for the right angle and is going to try to take Revan. Slam down, get the headshot. That Cassidy's trying to get away with the roll, but during all this time, Oklahoma has managed to sneakily take one tick away from Boise State. It's been a long and drawn-out fight, but one that Oklahoma has definitely seemed steadfast in continuing to contest.
Yeah, Oklahoma took the hotel, which is that building on the far right side, really early in the fight, which allows him to just poke out. Revan getting a sneaky kill on Hex on the high ground, able to utilize those stairs, but Strider killing Jivia and Revan again on the Frost. Lyric able to avenge his fallen two friends, but unfortunately leaving Strider alone in the back line, killing him and forcing Boise to back off. But Clear is still in the fight, trying to take out the tank, is just not able to deal enough damage in time, allowing for Oklahoma to get some points on the objective. We do see both Fuzi and Revan with their ults, Jivia coming really close, and same with NCal. But Boise's also got a few ults of their own coming up. Strider with his minefield has definitely proven to be an issue in these past few rounds.
Now we got a tank showdown right on the field as a whole bunch of damage being placed onto that. Orisa finds herself trapped in the statue as they went for the health pack there. Still managed to hang on for health, but with Jiva being taken out, Boise State is now positioning themselves up close against the spawn of Oklahoma. Frost taking a few long-range shots as we're waiting on this minefield to be sprung, waiting for the right moment, and the moment is now with the slam down. Now, how many people are going to get taken out? Oklahoma really low on health. Fusi just barely hanging on, as well as NCal. Strider trying to go into the back line, but they got the May there to freeze him in his tracks, and that at least manages to hold him at bay for now, as we got a fight taking place in stairs on the side. We find the stun on Strider. That's what they're looking for, but he still manages to hang on with just a few health bars remaining.
Yeah, with all of the ults going on the field, we're going to see it all come out. We see the nano boost, not finding the kill on Juno quite yet. There he goes. NCal unfortunately falling to Strider. Clear with the kill on Revan really early on. Strider getting that kill on to Brig as well. He's able to just push through this backline. Clear is able to kill Fuzi with Hex cleaning up Jivia for a clean team kill. But Oklahoma is already up 2 ticks on the point with 5 ults coming into this next fight. If they play their cards right and just ult dump, it is going to be very easy for them to get onto the point using all of the resources they have.
They have tried everything. They have tried freezing. They have tried stunning Strider. They have a blizzard here hoping to freeze him up. He goes swinging around the statue. Slamming into them. They're going to use the orbital ray for a bit of support. Boise State uses Bob in response. Clear going a little bit down low in health as Frost gets a pick onto NCal. Are you kidding me? With all these ultimates, Oklahoma still hanging on to them. The only one they used is the Deadeye. We only got 30 seconds left, and Clear's just tearing right into them. Picks up a double. Hex gets in on it as well. And now Oklahoma in dire straits. One team fight left, and you can bet your bottom dollar Boise State is going to stagger them out as long as humanly possible.
All of those ults and just not able to find any kills onto anybody. Strider he got stunned really early on in the fight, but just not able to find that pick. Clear with backline with his awesome. Frost finding the kill on Fuzi with no help, and just nobody is there to touch the point, allowing Boise to only let Oklahoma go up 2 ticks on the first point.
I gotta tell you, talking about ticks, I'm a little ticked right now. I saw 5 ultimates from Oklahoma. I was expecting an ult dump there. You got less than a minute, you know. That would have been a great chance to, you know, at least keep it going. So many times we see if a team manages to get the first point, then more than likely enough, they're going to make it to the factory. More times than not, I've seen them be able to keep that momentum up through streets. So the fact that they saved up all these ultimates and still didn't use them is mind-boggling to me.
I feel like their picks on the backline from Boise is just kind of making it really hard for them to commit ultimates. Like you saw that the Orisa ultimate in Terra Surge, she just wasn't able to get far enough into the backline to where it would have gotten anything done. But even just that pressure of having it on the front line would have been useful. And especially because they couldn't really bring him over, there wasn't really a sense to hold it on for that long.
Boise State now going through just about every hero that they can pick. We saw a little bit of the Diva, Lifeweaver up there. I do believe we will probably see that Widow for the early Widow peek out, but then that'll be a change over to something a bit more negligible. That is a nice dinette set. I'm just saying right now that that's something you could see on The Price is Right. I'm bidding $8.99, Bob.
I'd honestly put it up a little bit higher. I'd put it closer to $99.99. But we are starting off strong.
I think you mean $9.99, not $99.99. I said it's a nice dinette set. It's not $9 grand nice. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I meant like $99.99. But
I bet $8.99 is in $899.
Oh, never mind. I misheard you then.
What kind of cheapskate do you think I am? Well, anyway.
All right, Strider able to find his way onto the high ground and into the backline with a big slam onto the backline, just not really able to find anything. Fuzi finding an early javelin kill on Clear, with Boise not really able to find a kill in response. Strider's able to keep up that frontline pressure, but May from the hotel room is able to force them off. Strider just can't really get in to do what he likes to do on ball, just bounce around inside those enclosed locations and just get tons of damage. But we do see Clear finally coming back and is able to get some sort of pressure rolling.
Now the fight unveils on the point. Strider once again trying to go in the back line. This time just take the high ground as a shield from all that damage. Boise State does seem to be a bit lackadaisical in this. They haven't really picked up any sort of eliminations. And Oklahoma hasn't taken too much damage. Revan is down to half health though. Can Boise State move on in and finish the job? A huge biotic grenade sent onto the two supports, but it doesn't result in anything. Oh, what a great opportunity just passed.
What a good play from Fuzi, just able to keep that wrecking ball out with Revan getting an early kill on clear to help them out. But everyone on Oklahoma's team is low, able to be brought up back up by NCal. Revan also finding the kill on clear, forcing Boise to come to regroup and get back at it. But Hex does get that kill on Fuzi, which should leave them down. Frost does die, but they have the spawn advantage. Strider able to chase down both supports, Revan getting that early kill on Frost, but Boise is able to contest the point with only May to save them.
Oh my goodness, trying to body the Deadeye Strider. I like this. I like the thought here. He can't move anywhere, but he still manages to get the elimination onto Hex. And Strider not being able to take down this Cassidy as the tank comes in as backup and clear. And Strider have other plans with the Dust Blossom and the Minefield, being able to tear through Oklahoma's backline. Sweetbread did use that rally, but is it too little too late? As Boise State is now on the point, rounding their first tick. They just need a 1 7/8 more, and they will have it.
Yeah, the fight has been raging inside that hotel room, but they haven't touched the point, allowing for Boise to get super close. That Blizzard does come out, unfortunately not really able to find anybody, but we do see Clear almost die, but is able to get out. Revan finding that early kill on Frost. Clear finding the kill on Sweetbread, though, leaving that Ana defenseless, and he's able to find Fuzi with the lack of healing. Revan unfortunately does get Lyric, but is it going to be enough? No, it's not. Nobody touches the point, allowing for Strider to get that final tick. Boise wins 3-0.
Nice win for the Broncos. Celebratory cowbells all around, and one final player of the game. Of course, it has to be the one we've been talking about all this time, Strider, being a fierce threat on this wrecking ball. And this is such a good moment too, because during this fight, the play of the game doesn't capture it all, but he went down to about 100 or sub 100 health 2 times. They were pushing everything they possibly could onto him, and he still survives, swings on back, and tears into their team.
It's honestly just impressive to watch him just be able to get in, get out. It doesn't matter how low you take him. If you don't kill him, he's going to come back and just run through your team like he's on a marathon pace. And it's honestly one of the most impressive things about Boise's team as a whole.
Well, a great job by the Broncos securing yet another PEC win. We'll see if their Valorant team tomorrow can continue the win streak going against the Sooners. But as of right now, as for Overwatch, we got to get out of here. Stay tuned. We have Smash Bros for you later tonight, so do not go away. Stay tuned to Boise State Esports YouTube Live or Twitch page, wherever you happen to be watching. But for now, enjoy some highlights, and we'll see you soon with Smash.
Idaho's Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app. I know this car got you through college, but check this out. In my credit, your credit score looks good. And there's a great rate on this auto loan so we can score a roomier ride. Whoa, who's driving this thing? The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Growing up in Idaho, we have certain rules we live by. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Idaho Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app. I know this car got you through college, but check this out. In my credit, your credit score looks good. And there's a great rate on this auto loan so we can score a roomier ride. Whoa, who's driving this thing? The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Growing up in Idaho, we have certain rules we live by. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.